Hey guys, so today I wanted to discuss some different training aids and what the benefits are of them and what the consequences can be if you use them wrong. So please enjoy the video and I hope it helps. So the first aid I want to talk about today is a really basic aid. It's the riding crop. So many people use it, jumpers use it, barrel racers use it. It's a very versatile tool. So with riding crops, they can be very beneficial for helping give your horse a little bit of get up and go. Or lazy horses. They can even be useful for urging your horse over a jump or urging your horse faster. But one of the few consequences of this whip are if they're used incorrectly, they can lead to a fearful horse, which can end up being a pretty dangerous situation. So you need to make sure you're not too rough with the whip, or else your horse can become fearful, and that can lead to other problems later on. Next training aid I want to talk about would be spurs. Spurs are a lot like a riding crop. They're used to urge the horse forward and give it a little more get up and go. So spurs can be a good tool, especially for lazier horses, and it's really important that spurs are used correctly. When I use spurs, I keep my foot flat in the stirrup like this, and when I go to use the spur, I'll just lift my heel up a little bit so it taps my horse on the side, which I don't really use spurs that often unless they're really necessary. I don't really like spurs that much because I tend to see people, especially at barrel races, just start wailing on their horse's sides with the spurs. And that's sharp metal objects. That's really not what they're used for. They're not supposed to be there to just kick the fudge out of your horse. They're for subtle, not pressure, I guess you could say touch. Therefore, especially like pinpointing where you want that pressure to be at, which, because it's a smaller tool, it's smaller than your heel, which gives you a little more specificness of where you use the pressure. Consequences of overusing these is, once again, a fearful horse. Your horse can start bucking, can injure your horse if you use them. So that's definitely something to consider when you think about using them. You have to have a really good seat to use these too, because if you're flopping them around, you're going to hit your horse mistakenly, and that's just not a good situation. The next training aid I want to discuss is going to be a stud chain. Stud chains can be very useful for rude or pushy horses. You can use them to apply pressure across the nose to deter them from that behavior. But another problem with stud chains is people overuse them. And sometimes it's not even people who know what they're doing with them. So with a stud chain, you need to be really careful not to be too rough with it, or else you can cause damage to the nose. And once again, you can create a fearful horse from overusing it. So that's something to definitely consider. But if it comes to the point where you have a horse that's very pushy and rude, it's definitely a good aid to use for that. It really helps. But like I said, it needs to be used in moderation.